Hey guys, welcome to Channel Weird. I'm Clyde Lewis. Keeping Portland weird, at least keeping Portland weird again while we're trying to break out of this COVID mundane corona doom. And I'm very happy today to have someone with me that, I was just talking with my stepson the other day, Liam, and I was saying, I want to go to QuarterWorld. QuarterWorld, I think, is an institution here in Portland. And the reason why I say that is because there is no place where I can waste a whole damn afternoon and not feel bad about wasting an afternoon because it's fun. It's a fun place. And they got a huge Tesla coil and all kinds of other geeky stuff that I just love to have a good time with. So we have the operations manager with us, Logan J. Bowden, who is with us today, and we're glad to have him with us. Okay, so I got you here, and I'm going to just ask you a number of questions, and we're going to get into some really interesting stuff. You and I, we've talked before.
We have.
So, first of all, QuarterWorld is still here, correct?
It exists, yes. It is alive and well, and we're getting ready to open the doors here shortly.
Okay, so can you give me a date? I mean, I'm sure people who are watching this are going to go, we need to know when QuarterWorld opens.
Yeah.
Again. I'm just such a geek. I'm geeking out in front of you. I don't know why.
Once the risk level here, I think it just dropped to low on Thursday.
Yeah.
Thanks, Blazers.
Exactly. We thank the Blazers. Thank you,
right,
guys.
giving us a day early. It dropped to low, and our social media has just been blowing up. People being like, "What's the plan? When are the doors open? When are the doors open?"
Right.
And I'm tentatively right now we're shooting for the 17th. Obviously, we're following a lot of protocols and looking and making sure that when we open that we're safe for everybody to be there. So we're ramping up for that right now. So
is it going to be a celebratory event? I mean, it should be, right?
I'm going to celebrate.
Party favors and balloons and clowns and no, I'm just going overboard here. No, I mean, it's like I'm sure there's going to be a line.
I mean, I hope there's going to be a line.
There should be.
With
all my enthusiasm, there's enough to spread to the world that there needs to be a line at QuarterWorld when it opens on the 17th of July.
Bring on the fanfare. Yeah. Bring it on. We're ready for it.
Now, the thing about QuarterWorld is that you guys have got all these pinball games, video games. You have an enormous Galaga, Pac-Man.
World's largest Pac-Man.
That is amazing.
We moved that to another place in town.
Okay.
A place called Holler that just opened. So it's there, but we're bringing in some new crazy stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
You can't tell me.
It's a surprise.
Okay, so they're going to bring in crazy stuff. Another reason to be there on the 17th. I'm just going down the list here. I'm hoping I'm not forgetting anything. So how are the prices going to be? Are they going to be still, are they going to be still as good as they are? You're going to have to go up, go down?
For gameplay?
Oh, yeah, just the admission and.
So we're thinking about changing. So it used to be $1. So when we first open, what we're going to do is like Thursday and Friday. We're going to be 21 plus for Thursday and Friday.
Okay.
And then Saturday and Sunday we're going to be all ages until 6 o'clock. But our admission is going to change. It's going to we're going to be $2, but it's always going to be $2.
Okay, good.
So it used to be like after. I think it was 6 o'clock. It seems so long ago.
Blur's Day.
Right. It would go up to $3. So we're just doing a straight $2 now to come in. We remodeled in there. We ripped out all the carpets. I'm not sure if anyone remembers, but our floor in the main room, there was some bungee sort of squishy areas. So we had to rip. I mean, that floor that was in there was oh my goodness.
Well, it's the old Tabor Theater.
It's the old Tabor Theater. So
right.
It's like 20, 30, 40, 50 years of people spilling stuff all over it.
Exactly.
But the most impressive thing that we did is what we did in the lounge, and I'm not gonna.
You're not gonna say anything.
I'm not gonna say, but like that.
Okay, so he's not gonna say anything.
No.
So you got to be there on the 17th. So then you'll learn everything, the secrets of QuarterWorld.
Yeah. It's.
You are so good at this.
Oh man, it's so good.
I'm gonna be there on the 17th. I have to be with bells on.
All right. Yeah.
I'm gonna talk to my stepson. We're gonna make a plan. We got to be there.
Yeah. Just stay tuned to our social media, man.
So what? Okay. So let's go back to you guys are opening up. It's a big risk because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
What are going to be the criteria to get in? Masks, social distancing. What are you doing with that?
So we're shooting for when the state becomes like herd immunity, and that 70%, and that's kind of what we're waiting on is because we know we're close. We're trending the statistics on the percentage of how people are getting vaccinated and all of that. So our goal is when we open the doors fully, and there shouldn't be any restrictions.
That's great.
That is kind of our goal, because it's not really an arcade unless you can really,
Right.
It's like, it's like going to an amusement park and all they get is a cotton candy machine.
Exactly.
It's.
And you're probably going to have to wipe down machines.
Yeah, we're still going to be, and that's one of the reasons that we're doing Thursday and Friday as 21 plus is because and not doing all ages is because kids can't get vaccinated.
Right.
Kids that are down, is it 12 now?
I think so.
I think it's down to 12. But we're a family, we want kids. So that's why Saturday and Sunday we're going to have all ages. And then at 6 o'clock, we're going to be wiping down games, and making sure that we're on top of making sure all the surfaces are clean and
Right.
bacteria. But at 6 o'clock, we're going to do a major deep clean of all the games, because then it cycles back into everyone that is vaccinated is there.
Yeah.
So a lot of protocols that we're trying to put into place. There's no handbook on how to do this.
Right. I was just asking because I know that when I go to bars sometimes and I want to play, video crack, and they say you can't play video crack until we wipe it down. We have to turn on the machine, and it's kind of a cumbersome deal. You have to sign up for a machine.
Yeah.
And so, but there are plenty of machines at QuarterWorld. I don't think you're going to be having a problem signing up. There are a lot of machines there, a lot of great pinball games, a lot of great video games. I hear that pinball's coming back. Is it coming back?
Oh my goodness, gangbusters! Yeah. So when the pandemic started, we had to do a business pivot, and our pivot was to start renting out games. And so I went to the warehouse, I looked at everything we had, and I put everything up. And I think about 20 minutes we had rented out every single pinball that we had available.
Wow.
So we had to go get more pins. So we pulled everything out of the arcade and everything. And yes, we've rented some arcades, but it's been pinball the whole time.
Sure.
And then I'm good friends with some of the people over at Stern Pinball. And they're like, we're having record sales. People are just buying pinball like it's like it's an IV, like it's the.
I've seen machines online. I've been seeing they're trying to sell them on Facebook, eBay. I've seen a lot of pinball machines going up, and that's why I was wondering if pinball was making a comeback because you've seen these new little, I guess it's like $100 cabinet you can buy with some of the old video games like Centipede and Pac-Man.
Those multi-cades.
Yeah.
Like one up arcade or whatever.
Yeah, something like that.
They're small.
But
yeah.
I haven't seen them as much as trying to sell classic pinball games or just pinball games in general. And I know Stern is Bali and a group of I just see a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And I'm just like thinking to myself, I would love to have a pinball. I just don't have room for one. But I've always dreamt of having a pinball, especially. I want a KISS pinball machine because I'm a KISS fan. But they've got two now. They've got one that's the old version.
I was going to say, which one are you talking about?
Yeah, now they got the one that has the music and the explosions.
Gene's head, and he just spits balls out at you.
Exactly. So, that's one of my favorites. I'd like to see Pinbot. Like to play Pinbot. One of my favorites I used to play all the time was Pinbot. And, I got all my favorite ones. And then, of course, I love the novelty machines you have. I play Creature from the Black Lagoon, which is another one of my favorites, and the Munsters. I'm a big horror movie fan. So when they came out with these horror movie pinball machines, I was on them. I just love them. They're great.
Yeah. Munsters was in. They did something interesting with that one because the Munsters is black and white.
Yeah.
And so they came out. One of the play fields was black and white.
Yeah.
There's no color to it. And I was like, oh, it's awesome. And
Right.
the thing that we did, which I thought was cute, but we have our little price cards down in the corner that we custom make for. And
Right.
I did a monochromatic one, so it kind of fit the black and white theme for it.
That's so great. Well, see, that's the thing is that there's something for everybody when you go to QuarterWorld, because not only are the nostalgic games there, but you get to remember. I mean, I was a pinball fanatic when I was a kid. I mean, I remember one time we went to a movie, and my father gave me money to take my brother and my sister to the movies. And we were at this place called Fashion Place Mall, and there was this old arcade called Tilt. And we used to go into Tilt all the time. And I'd go in there with like 20, maybe $30, and I'd walk out with nothing. And my dad would always get mad at me saying, "Have you been playing the pingers again?" And my mother would always say, "Well, you used to play the pingers when you were a kid. They called them the pingers."
The pingers?
They call them the pingers. And that's what they said, playing the pingers. And so, yeah, I'm a big pinger player. I like to play pingers.
I kind of hope that term doesn't catch on.
It might. Don't call it a pinger. Logan will kill you.
Right, yeah.
Are we here to play the pingers?
I'm in a pinger gang. You been out night playing those pingers?
Are you pinger ganging out there?
I don't like who you're rolling with these days. They're a bad influence.
That's the way it was, man. My parents were like, they were the 50s kids, so they'd call them pingers for some reason. But yeah, I like my father. I mean, he used to play pinball at the bowling alley. And I remember my first experience with a pinball machine. I was probably like 5 or 6 years old, and these guys were playing pinball, and I guess they didn't see me because I was really tiny, and they were like these towering guys playing pinball.
Right.
And I was pushing, I think the credit button or something, and I tilted their machine.
Oh, you son of a...
And they looked at me with such disgust. I thought, what did I do? I just wanted to play with you the game too. And that was what I did.
You're lucky you made it out of there.
Oh, they wanted to kill me. But I was a little kid, and my dad was playing pinball at the bowling alley, and I was there at the bowling alley. And I just thought I'd push the credit button, a lot.
Yeah.
Tilt. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That was my experience, first experience.
It's like tipping over a motorcycle from the Hell's Angels. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way it was back then, because pinball was, and of course then, I went and saw Tommy, and I understood the pinball messiah thing, and Elton John, and it was like that was my whole life was pinball. And so
I didn't play pinball till I was like 20-something. I grew up in a small town in Maine, and we didn't have pinball.
That's sad.
There was this place called The Trend in a little town called Stockton Springs. Mm-hmm. If anyone's listening from Stockton, shout out to the one guy.
One guy.
Just on his porch. Yeah. But no, there's a place called The Trend, and like that's where we would go. It's just a little convenience store, and they would have like an arcade game there.
Wow.
So it was like race driving was there, and then Road Blaster was there, but there was never any pinball.
Right.
And then if you wanted to go to the big arcade, you would get with one of your friends, and you would take the hour drive up to Bangor, Maine, and you would go to the arcade there, and still no pinball there either. So
I mean, it's like I remember too at the Tilt game. One of the things, there was a game called Hercules. Do you remember Hercules?
I've played Hercules.
Okay.
Oh my God, they use a cue ball.
Yeah,
like a pool.
I thought it was a croquet ball.
No, it's a cue ball.
Okay,
from like pool.
Right.
And the flipper solenoids are the same solenoids they use in skee ball machines to release all of the balls. Like you put a quarter in and you hear that giant chunk and all the balls roll down.
Right.
The thing is like it's like a 2x2 square.
Right.
It's square, which is weird, but like it's.
I remember the flippers were huge, and what do they call those things where the ball goes in and goes ka-chung, ka-chung?
Oh, the pop bumper.
The pop bumper.
Yeah.
The pop bumper on Hercules was so loud, the whole game shook.
Oh, yeah.
Boom, boom.
So to do maintenance on that thing, it's like a car. You get underneath it, and there's this big door that comes down. So normal pinball, what you do is you slide the glass off.
Yeah.
And I call it popping the hood. You like pull the whole game field up. And on this thing, you just get under it like with a car, with a rolly bench.
I can imagine. It's as big as a car, practically.
It is,
That's a big pin. For those of you who don't know what Hercules is, it's a huge pinball machine, about the size of a small car.
Yeah.
And I don't know how long they lasted, but I remember playing Hercules when I was younger, and it was just amazing to have this pinball machine that was so huge. So anyway, geeking out today with Logan J. Bowden. He is the chief operations dude at QuarterWorld. You can imagine.
Yeah, that's me.
It's awesome. They're opening on the 17th. We're waiting, man, because as soon as that COVID terror lifts, we're on it like Blue Bonnet.
Dig it.
Anyway, big time. Anyway, we'll be back with more Channel Weird. Don't go away. We're going to get into some really cool game geeking and some conspiracy theory about some of these games as well. We'll talk about that coming up right here on Channel Weird.
AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Are you stressed? I mean, who isn't? Anxiety creeping in? No, not that. Is sleep hard to attain because your brain just won't slow down? We're living in crazy times, and the fear knob has been turned up. Okay, there's an answer. Take a big breath, exhale, and go log on to AncientLifeOil.com. CBD, broad and full spectrum, organic and non-GMO CBD for you to enjoy. Change your tune from fear to calm, from brain overload to clear thinking. 0.003 THC on full spectrum and 0% THC on broad spectrum. Competitive pricing with the best quality. Also know everything is going to get better. No worries, be happy. CBD can help calm so your nerves don't think they're a 6-string electric guitar. Enjoy life, smile, and log on to AncientLifeOil.com for great CBD. That's AncientLifeOil.com. You'll be glad you did.
Hey guys, it's Clyde Lewis. Have you ever wanted Ground Zero merchandise but didn't know where to go? Well, I want to let you know that we now have our own online store with such items as t-shirts, hoodies, decals, tote bags, and other exclusive specialty apparel. There's a secure and easy-to-use shopping cart for your purchases. Coming soon will be signed posters and coffee mugs available as we are constantly adding new items. So shop today at the official Ground Zero store by going to groundzeromerch.com. That's groundzeromerch.com.
Following a disaster, your home emergency kit will be invaluable. Building a kit doesn't take long, and you'll be glad you did when disaster strikes. Here's a list of items to include: a first aid kit, battery-powered or hand crank radio, flashlight, extra batteries, an emergency whistle, cell phone with charger, cash and small bills, a local map with your family meeting place identified, food and water to last 2 weeks, garbage bags, dust masks, and seasonal clothing and footwear. Add prescription medications or any other important items unique to your family's needs. Once you've created your kit, check food expiry dates once a year and update seasonal clothing for growing children. If you have pets, make sure you have everything your furry friends need in an easy-to-carry grab-and-go bag. To learn more about preparing an emergency kit, visit mil.wa.gov/preparedness and get 2 weeks ready.
Be sure to get your low-cost 2-week supply of food with a miraculous 25-year shelf life by going to preparewithgroundzero.com.
Hey guys, this is Clyde Lewis from Ground Zero. In order to counter the growing suppression and censorship of information, we've created our own private digital playground called Aftermath.media. It's an exclusive online multimedia library featuring a social media platform, videos, audio clips, archive shows, and research groups. There are also documents and a news aggregator, all for $10 a month. If you sign up for a yearly subscription this March, it's only $79. So go to Aftermath.media. Again, that's Aftermath.media.
Hi, I'm Stephen Briggs from the Surfer Music app. Surfer links thousands of stations displaying song titles and artists organized by genre. It's easy to find your favorites. You can join our Kickstarter campaign. Help us build 5 new features for the Surfer Music app. Find out more, go to Kickstarter.com and search for Surfer Music, S-U-R-F-R. For a direct link, go to surfer.fm and click the Kickstarter banner. That's SURFR.fm.
Logan J. Bowden is with us. Sir Logan J. Bowden. Ooh. It sounds like Sir Logan J. Bowden. See, the thing about Oregon and the thing about us being weird is we got some of the coolest places. For those of you that are national and you're like thinking, well, what is QuarterWorld? QuarterWorld's in Portland, Oregon, but QuarterWorld, because I know a lot of people are going to be watching this locally too, QuarterWorld is an amazing place because it is just like a huge video game. You can get lost in there, and you have a Tesla coil.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's also it's an old theater that was built in
Right.
1905.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
There's two things I want to ask about in this break. First of all, when COVID hit, you guys had a new business model that you immediately did, and that was you delivered games.
We rented games to the home market, so you could have a pinball, an arcade, or whatever in your house, and it was really quickly thrown together. And so, and we kept running out of pinball, so we had to kind of like, well, we're not renting anymore. So there was like a month there where we kind of shut down the rental thing and totally reworked it and revamped it because we had created this new business, and we decided we were going to make it a permanent. It's a permanent service that we do. So even when the world goes back to normal, knock on wood. It's something you can always rent from us. So, like, if you go to our website, QuarterWorldArcade.com, there is a little link at the top that says Home Rentals, and you click on that, and it tells you everything you need to know about our rental service. And then it also shows you what we have available to rent at that time.
And you can rent for business parties, pool parties.
So that's a great thing. So the home rental is you rent it for a month.
Okay.
Like a month minimum, and that's like at one price point. But if you want to do what we call like a quarterly rental, so for 3 months, you get a discounted rate, and it goes. And the other great thing is when you rent with us, you get points, and your points can be traded in for another month rental. Stuff at the arcade. A year's membership to the arcade. Merchandise, like, so you're building points and stuff as you're renting with us that you can like trade in, which like people one of the things is you can trade in points to have a private tutorial with your favorite technician to go over like pinball strategy.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
I've always wanted to learn some pinball strategy. I do. People don't know this, but pinball is a game of skill.
Yes,
and you got to know how to how far you can push the machine without tilting it. You got to know certain techniques for I used to do this thing where I would paddle the ball around with the flippers. I used to be a real show off.
Yeah, you pass the ball.
Pass the ball. Yeah, and I used to do that. And so you can learn some really interesting techniques on how to get the best scores and get the multi-ball. My favorite part is multi-ball.
Oh, that's everybody's.
If you don't offer multi-ball on a pinball machine, it's just, not worth it.
Yeah, it's BS.
Yeah.
Well, the fact that you say that pinball is skill-based, actually, when pinball was illegal, they said it was because it was a game of chance, and originally you used to be able to win money with pinball.
I still wish it would come back to win money. I think that'd be great. I'd win a lot.
Well, I mean, you do. It's called playing dollar games.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just put $1 down.
Yeah. You don't tell anybody about that.
No. We don't do that here, wink, nudge. But no. In the Supreme Court, they wheeled in a pinball, and they're like, we'll prove that it's a game of skill. He's like, I'm going to hit this shot 5 times. Boop, 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 hit it. His name is escaping me right now.
Right.
I'm sure every pinball is like, it's this guy.
Yeah.
Novice.
Able to show, And so the model is that you can rent a pinball game, which is amazing because that way you can have a pinball game in your house.
Well,
when
you
you
can
couldn't
rent
afford one, you can rent.
Yeah, you can rent anything.
That's amazing. Another thing at QuarterWorld that many people are not aware of, and it's probably the most unique thing about this arcade, is you have a major, huge, humongous Tesla coil.
7 feet inverted.
7 feet. And now, how did you get a hold of one of those things? It's like Frankenstein's laboratory. It's like electricity, and it makes noise, and you play tunes on it.
Yeah, it's a solid state Tesla coil,
Okay.
opposed to a spark gap.
Okay.
So we're using like these giant transistors in there that are like the size of a giant calculator. But when we were first getting ready to open the arcade, we wanted something that was different, like but still kind of relative at the same point.
Right.
And I was just kind of digging in, like what could set us apart? What's something that I don't see and I was just kind of perusing YouTube one day, and I saw these guys doing musical Tesla coils, and I was like, well, it's sold. Sold. How do I get? So I'm looking all over.
It's like nobody ever thinks, so what do we put in an arcade that'll be different? You know, you think of these simple things, like a coffee bar.
So maybe we'll have some lights.
But we have a Tesla coil.
Right.
That just basically wins, you know. Rock, paper, Tesla coil. It's over.
It's when like Crazy Jim comes into the meeting like, let's have a Tesla coil. Okay. Sure, Jim.
Exactly.
Thanks for contributing.
Exactly. So this huge Tesla coil, in fact, we used it to hunt ghosts.
We did. Yeah.
You remember?
Well, you did.
Yes, I did.
just ran the thing.
We set up captures because in electrical fields there are ghosts. They always show up, and especially in an old theater. So what we did is we took and we tried to capture using fog and cameras and the huge bolts ghosts. We got a few good ghosts.
I remember seeing that. It was that was Halloween, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did it on Halloween.
Yeah, we did a big remote there, and then we did the ghost. During the setup, you were firing the Tesla coil and playing music, and it was a lot of fun. It was loud, and
It's very loud.
It was really fun.
It's like 90 decibels.
And we had a bunch of ghost investigators there, and they were setting up so they could capture. They were snapping pictures randomly, and they got a few ghosts like playing around underneath the Tesla coil. There was these. I mean, they were what was called plasma type ghosts, but you could see that they were forming, and it was an amazing thing to watch.
Yeah, I mean that's the crazy thing about Tesla coils is what you're seeing is igniting plasma that's in the air, and what you're hearing is the plasma scraping against the atmosphere. That's what you're hearing.
It's like controlled thunder. It's like you're playing controlled thunder, and the thunder has different tones, and so you can play whatever song you want. You were playing like this whole. It was like an overture of well-known music.
Oh yeah, we were doing we were doing Halloween songs.
Yes.
So I think it was like something from A Nightmare Before Christmas, maybe that one.
Yeah, Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah. I think we did. No, we did Beethoven.
Yeah, and it's really. I mean, what you have to calculate the frequencies, right?
What you're doing is you're taking these MIDI files, which are very kind of 8-bit kind of sounding things, and you're stripping them down to their essence. So like you have your bass line. So our Tesla coil is like a 4. Also, I just got to mention so we had this thing built for us. This company out in Chicago, Zoozaphone LLC. The guy named Steve Click. And I got a great guy. Definitely the kind of guy like you meet him and you're like, yep, this is the guy I want building my Tesla coil. Like he's very much into this.
Right.
So I just got to throw that out there. But no, it's a 4-channel Tesla coil, so I can have 4 different musical channels. So I can run like your bass, your track, and then like your melody, and those are all different. And we have to really pay attention to what is going on with it when we're playing these, because the more intense the song is, the more power it's sucking, and it can get really hot. In fact, we learned the first time we put this thing up on the ceiling is you can't use metal hardware to fasten a Tesla coil to a ceiling, because the metal fasteners got so hot it melted through the secondary coil and fell, and we're like, oh, so that thing is mounted to the ceiling with fiberglass bolts through and through. So it's a fiberglass bolt that's like 8 feet tall.
Jeez.
Yeah, I didn't even know they made fiberglass bolts.
See, this is something that if you didn't know, if you didn't know it existed, you don't know what you're missing out on. Because I went there and when I heard that the Tesla coil was going to have a performance. You got like 2, don't you, a day?
We did it. We used to do it twice a day on Tuesdays and Sundays. Was when we used to do it. We're gonna cut back on the amount of. She's getting old.
Okay.
And I'm getting old. I have kids now, and I'm the only one that knows how to run it. There was 2 of us that knew how to run it,
right.
and he. My
So now you're getting older. You're not going to be a mad scientist anymore. Right?
I'm still going to be a mad scientist, but I gotta bring up the children to be like the little mad scientists, and then and then they go do what I do.
They teach you. You teach the kids how to do
can
it. That's
teach-
why I'm teaching my stepson how to be a radio dude.
Right?
Right. I have to.
Isn't it just, you got to have the voice though?
Oh yeah. Well, he has a voice.
Okay.
But we got to get it out of him. That's the whole
Right.
thing.
Right.
So I was like, do it. I want you to be my legacy. You
Go
do it."
deeper voice.
Logan J. Bowden's with us today on Channel Weird, talking about QuarterWorld, Tesla coils. This guy's a mad scientist. He's crazy. Great places to go in Portland, QuarterWorld. Opening on the 17th, he says. That's the shooting day. So be sure and get there because it's going to be a lot of fun. Coming up, we're going to talk about conspiracy theories surrounding video games. It's going to be an interesting topic. Stay tuned on Channel Weird, and we'll be back.
AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Are you stressed? I mean, who isn't? Anxiety creeping in? No, not that. Is sleep hard to attain because your brain just won't slow down? We're living in crazy times, and the fear knob has been turned up. Okay, there's an answer. Take a big breath, exhale, and go log on to AncientLifeOil.com. CBD, broad and full spectrum, organic and non-GMO CBD for you to enjoy. Change your tune from fear to calm. From brain overload to clear thinking. 0.003 THC on full spectrum and 0% THC on broad spectrum. Competitive pricing with the best quality. Also know everything is going to get better. No worries. Be happy. CBD can help calm so your nerves don't think they're a 6-string electric guitar. Enjoy life, smile, and log on to AncientLifeOil.com for great CBD. That's AncientLifeOil.com. You'll be glad you did.
Hey guys, it's Clyde Lewis. Have you ever wanted Ground Zero merchandise but didn't know where to go? Well, I want to let you know that we now have our own online store with such items as t-shirts, hoodies, decals, tote bags, and other exclusive specialty apparel. There's a secure and easy-to-use shopping cart for your purchases. Coming soon will be signed posters and coffee mugs available as we are constantly adding new items. So shop today at the official Ground Zero store by going to groundzeromerch.com. That's groundzeromerch.com.
Following a disaster, your home emergency kit will be invaluable. Building a kit doesn't take long, and you'll be glad you did when disaster strikes. Here's a list of items to include: a first aid kit, battery-powered or hand crank radio, flashlight, extra batteries, an emergency whistle, cell phone with charger, cash and small bills, a local map with your family meeting place identified, food and water to last 2 weeks, garbage bags, dust masks, and seasonal clothing and footwear. Add prescription medications or any other important items unique to your family's needs. Once you've created your kit, check food expiry dates once a year and update seasonal clothing for growing children. If you have pets, make sure you have everything your furry friends need in an easy-to-carry grab-and-go bag. To learn more about preparing an emergency kit, visit mil.wa.gov/preparedness and get 2 weeks ready.
Be sure to get your low-cost 2-week supply of food with a miraculous 25-year shelf life by going to preparewithgroundzero.com.
Hey guys, this is Clyde Lewis from Ground Zero. In order to counter the growing suppression and censorship of information, we've created our own private digital playground called Aftermath.media. It's an exclusive online multimedia library featuring a social media platform, videos, audio clips, archive shows, and research groups. There are also documents and a news aggregator, all for $10 a month. If you sign up for a yearly subscription this March, it's only $79. So go to Aftermath.media. Again, that's Aftermath.media.
Hi, I'm Stephen Briggs from the Surfer Music app. Surfer links thousands of stations displaying song titles and artists organized by genre. It's easy to find your favorites. You can join our Kickstarter campaign. Help us build 5 new features for the Surfer Music app. Find out more, go to Kickstarter.com and search for Surfer Music, S-U-R-F-R. For a direct link, go to surfer.fm and click the Kickstarter banner. That's SURFR.fm.
And we're here on Channel Weird. Logan J. Bowden's with us, QuarterWorld. And last time I had you on Ground Zero, was a while ago.
Yeah. 2 years?
Has it been 2 years? Gosh, like I say, Blur's
Time's
Day.
irrelevant.
Everything is Blur's
Time's
Day with
irrelevant.
us. And the reason why I brought you on was because I was fascinated by, and I don't know why, I guess I had some sort of a remembrance or something about a video game called Polybius. And for some reason, and I was so obsessed with this dream I had or something, I don't know what it was, that I looked it up to see if I was imagining things. And I wasn't. Apparently, there was a game called Polybius that was in video arcades back when I was a kid, and it was a game that had some sort of an urban legend behind it, some sort of a, I guess you could say, conspiracy theory behind it, because apparently it was supposed to be a training game or a mind control game that would actually be inspected. I guess the responses on the game. It wasn't really a skill game. It was the response on the game were being monitored by the Men in Black, and I wanted to make sure that I wasn't losing my mind, because I remember in some maybe at Tilt or some other game place, I played that game, Polybius, but then somebody says, well, it never existed. It was a game that never existed, and so people who say a lot of people claim they played Polybius, and how can they? Because it never existed. What is your take on this game? I mean, it's an amazing story.
Well, so first off, anyone that says that they've played it, if they hadn't grown up in Portland in the early 80s, then they're
Well, this was in Utah, so
you probably didn't play it.
okay.
So
it was an Oregon thing.
It was an Oregon thing.
Okay.
This was supposedly where the game was originally dropped, in kind of the outskirts of Portland, in the early 80s. And what it was is in a few, not in like big, not even in big arcades back then. They were like in the small like gas stations and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
They would have a couple games in the back, and supposedly this game showed up one day, and people would play it, and some kids had seizures. Some kids would have like bouts of amnesia, and the other thing is you just had to play it. It was like, it was your vice, it was like, I gotta go get my fix. And so you had to go back and play it. And then, these guys would show up like every week, and they would go into the back of the game. They wouldn't go to the front. They'd open up the back of the game, and they'd be looking at something. And then after about a month, shortly after, I think, like the first reports of like seizures happening, suddenly like it was gone, and no one's like, you get little things here and there, people being like, I found it, I was in a basement, and, but no one's seen it since.
So yeah, I mean, it's because like I said, to me, it was some sort of a dream or something where I had this experience where I remember playing a video game, and because I don't play video games that often, I play pinball. That's my game. But I played this video game, and I remember it being, in fact, I remember it being Polybius. I said Polybius, but it's Polybius, and I played it, and I remember that it gave me some sort of a spaced out sensation when I played it. And that's why I contacted you, because I was wondering, is this game real? And I even looked it up on the internet to see if I was, losing my mind. And there it was. It was this story that, and I remember playing it in Utah, and you say it only in Oregon was where it was dropped off. And I'm thinking, but then I read somewhere that other people claim they played it, or other people were taken, like, for example, into rooms. They were like taken into rooms, and they were told, play this game and tell me what you think of it. And when we did the show, if you remember, people would call in. They were calling in and saying that they played the game. They remember playing it when they were kids. But this game never existed. So how is it that we played it? If it's kind of like a Mandela effect.
Yeah, it's very much. I mean, so a lot of things were going on in the early 80s that it was just like, the conspiracy baker was like, I got all the ingredients.
Yeah, I'm making donuts.
I'm gonna make something. So you had, you have on record people having seizures here locally, like in the newspapers. And there was a game called Tempest
Yeah, I remember I played Tempest like nobody's business. I love Tempest.
Right. So this is before, we really were like, hey, you might have an epileptic seizure. This was back in the day where it's like, here's some broken glass.
They call them vector games.
It was a vector game.
Vector, yeah. That's what they called. Tempest and Asteroids and I can't remember.
Asteroids. There was Star Wars.
Star Wars was a vector game. Yeah.
The Major Havoc.
Tank Command.
Yeah. That's
Tank
another
Command
one.
Was it? Yeah.
But Tempest was like it was like color.
Right.
So like Asteroid was like black and white, and Tank was green.
Right.
But Tempest it had very there was colors and flashing and I can totally understand, like, even if you don't have epilepsy, like I'd play that game and be like blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So that was going on. There was also another game along that time called Polyplay.
Okay, I never heard of Polyplay.
It was made in Germany, and there wasn't a lot of them around. But if you look at the artist rendering of Polybius, and you look next to a game called Polyplay, like the heading, the font is very similar. And when you hear people talk about, like, the people that supposedly quote played Polybius, like, their stories of what the game was like is kind of, one person's like it's like a flying game, and other people say it's a puzzle game. And Polyplay was a multi-cade, so all these games existed in it. And then also the big thing during that time is the mid-'80s is that was like the boom of the arcade cabinet. So it was almost like every week a new arcade game was like hitting the street, and all the operators in town were lining up at the distributor to fill their truck and then go put them back out into the field. And people started realizing, some of the operators, is like, geez, this is getting kind of expensive. What if I could just, I don't know, buy the board and just shove that in the cabinet,
Right.
and call it a new game. All I need is a marquee and the board, and we're good to go. So they would contact people out of Japan, and they would get the board, because that's where it all come from anyways, and they would just buy the board.
Right.
And the Cabinet Manufacturing Association of America, whatever, caught wind of this, and they were like, whoa, like, that's cutting into our profit margin. So they hired this guy, Bob Fay. Was it Bob Fay? Yeah, Bob Fay. He was a former FBI agent, to head up this program that would, like, check out what they would call these, I think they were called blackboards, or
Yeah.
and so they were in the area at the same time.
I remember watching a show on Netflix that talked about these guys that were using the boards that way, and they were changing the cabinets. And one thing about Polybius, and I think another reason why Polybius has got legs, is because Tempest was a vector game,
Yep.
Polybius was a vector game, Tank Command was a vector game. Tank Command had an urban legend surrounding it that people who played Tank Command were being monitored, and that the military had results, and they wanted to know who were doing the best on Tank Command, and they wanted to recruit them to actually pilot tanks, because apparently it was good training. You hear anything about that urban legend?
I know video games have definitely, so Pong was created on a military base. The first video game ever.
Right.
The guy who did it is this guy out in New Hampshire, I think.
Right.
Him and another guy, and it was kind of an eye-hand coordination test or training.
Right.
And it's so, look what people train with, like, airplanes now. You go on a flight simulator.
Simulators, like a video game, yeah.
It is an entire aircraft that has video game screens in the front, and you pilot it just like a normal. So, like, yeah, as technology has gotten better and graphics have gotten better, like, I'm pretty sure Call of Duty, people are like, I'm gonna join the Army because I'm really good at Call of Duty.
Well, the Last Starfighter was that movie based on the idea that somebody is monitoring you playing a video game, somebody from outer space,
right?
And they want you to come down to fight a galactic war. And I think that stories like that about Tank Command and Polybius being some sort of a mind control, or at least a dexterity mind control type of spacey type thing, is part of that legend. But it's certainly, if anybody has seen a Polybius game or played a Polybius game, you can send me an email at groundzero.pdx@yahoo.com. Do you have an email? Maybe somebody can say they send it to you.
You can QuarterWorld@gmail.com.
Yeah, because I'd love to hear the stories. 'Cause people will tell stories that they actually played Polybius.
Yep.
We'll be back with more Channel Weird. Stay tuned. Weird stories today.
AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Are you stressed? I mean, who isn't? Anxiety creeping in? No, not that. Is sleep hard to attain because your brain just won't slow down? We're living in crazy times, and the fear knob has been turned up. Okay, there's an answer. Take a big breath, exhale, and go log on to AncientLifeOil.com. CBD, broad and full spectrum, organic and non-GMO CBD for you to enjoy. Change your tune from fear to calm, from brain overload to clear thinking. 0.003 THC on full spectrum and 0% THC on broad spectrum. Competitive pricing with the best quality. Also know everything is going to get better. No worries, be happy. CBD can help calm so your nerves don't think they're a 6-string electric guitar. Enjoy life, smile, and log on to AncientLifeOil.com for great CBD. That's AncientLifeOil.com. You'll be glad you did.
Hey guys, it's Clyde Lewis. Have you ever wanted Ground Zero merchandise but didn't know where to go? Well, I want to let you know that we now have our own online store with such items as t-shirts, hoodies, decals, tote bags, and other exclusive specialty apparel. There's a secure and easy-to-use shopping cart for your purchases. Coming soon will be signed posters and coffee mugs available as we are constantly adding new items. So shop today at the official Ground Zero store by going to groundzeromerch.com. That's groundzeromerch.com.
Following a disaster, your home emergency kit will be invaluable. Building a kit doesn't take long, and you'll be glad you did when disaster strikes. Here's a list of items to include: a first aid kit, battery-powered or hand crank radio, flashlight, extra batteries, an emergency whistle, cell phone with charger, cash and small bills, a local map with your family meeting place identified, food and water to last 2 weeks, garbage bags, dust masks, and seasonal clothing and footwear. Add prescription medications or any other important items unique to your family's needs. Once you've created your kit, check food expiry dates once a year and update seasonal clothing for growing children. If you have pets, make sure you have everything your furry friends need in an easy-to-carry grab-and-go bag. To learn more about preparing an emergency kit, visit mil.wa.gov/preparedness and get 2 weeks ready.
Be sure to get your low-cost 2-week supply of food with a miraculous 25-year shelf life by going to preparewithgroundzero.com.
Hey guys, this is Clyde Lewis from Ground Zero. In order to counter the growing suppression and censorship of information, we've created our own private digital playground called Aftermath.media. It's an exclusive online multimedia library featuring a social media platform, videos, audio clips, archive shows, and research groups. There are also documents and a news aggregator, all for $10 a month. If you sign up for a yearly subscription this March, it's only $79. So go to Aftermath.media. Again, that's Aftermath.media.
Hi, I'm Stephen Briggs from the Surfer Music app. Surfer links thousands of stations displaying song titles and artists organized by genre. It's easy to find your favorites. You can join our Kickstarter campaign. Help us build 5 new features for the Surfer Music app. Find out more, go to Kickstarter.com and search for Surfer Music, S-U-R-F-R. For a direct link, go to surfer.fm and click the Kickstarter banner. That's SURFR.fm.
Channel Weird. Logan J. Bowden with us, QuarterWorld, and it's so good to have him in the studio. So glad you could make it today, really.
Well, thanks for inviting me.
You bet. So we're talking about Polybius,
Oh, yeah.
the game that is part of your Mandela dreams or your Mandela effect, whether you remember it or not, is anybody's guess.
It's the extension of the MK Ultra project.
Yes, and gosh, maybe we should do a show about that again because it's such an interesting topic. I talked about MK Ultra was about 3 or 4 weeks ago. We had an MK Ultra survivor on the program.
Oh.
And we talked with her, but I think a lot of people don't even know about Polybius. Some people do. And like I say, it's like a Mandela effect. And there was actually a company that allegedly, it was a German company, right, that made the video game? Or was it a Japanese company?
No, I think they're based out of Germany. It was Sinneslosion. Sinneslosion, which means deleted sense.
Deleted sense. Mm-hmm. Like they delete your senses.
Yeah. But so it was. What was it? 2006. This guy came forward named Stephen Roach. Supposedly, him and another guy started this company, and they were approached by another company that was based out of South America, which he was like, I'm not going to tell you that. But they brought this technology to them,
okay,
and wanted them to make a game out of it. And so him and his partner put this game together and sent it to Oregon to test out. And they had to keep like sending data back to these South American company, whatever.
Yeah.
And supposedly once everything kind of when they all disappeared, it was this when the seizures started happening, the South American company was like, whoa, we got to get that stuff out of here. And they're the ones that came and got it.
And it goes off into history. No one knows.
Yeah. I mean, if one still exists, it's most likely going to be somewhere here in Oregon. Some operator back then may have not like put the game, because the operators are the one that were placing all the games.
Right.
So, there weren't people just, if someone showed up back then was like, can I put a game in your establishment? They'd be like, no, I got a guy for that.
Right.
I got a meat guy, I got an arcade guy, and I got a water guy, And so if it exists, there's some operator here in Oregon that's got it in like his shed or workshop. I mean, if you've ever seen an operator's warehouse, it's like that scene at the end of Indiana Jones,
right.
Which is just going down the corridor.
And there were old games and old forgotten games.
Just
no one remembers.
Yep, way in the back.
Like I remember there was a game. We used to have video games in our school cafeteria because they wanted to keep us on campus. And there was this game I remember we used to play with a clown. That you had to balance stuff on the clown, and then you'd pop balloons with the clown. And I don't even know if that game exists anymore. And then we had Burger Time.
Oh, yeah.
I remember Burger Time. I thought, oh, my God, this is a stupid game. But I played it. I played Burger Time. It was kind of weird. And so Polybius, if there's an operator out there, and you're watching me because you're one of those people who likes weird stuff like I do, you got to surrender the Polybius. That way we can get down to this once and for all. And if you do have a Polybius game, Logan and I are going to do a show with you because we were the first guys to even talk about Polybius anywhere, I think. You and I were.
Yeah. Yep.
We were the first. So, we want to make sure that we are the first to discover the damn game. Because if it's out there, and because like I say, this is an urban legend. This is kind of like Mandela effect. People remember playing Polybius either in their dreams or in their video arcades or wherever, but it only was here in Oregon. It wasn't anywhere else. So people who say they played it, we want to know where you played it, what happened to you when you played it, whether or not you were aware that it could have been a mind control game put out by the government or some other company that wanted to record your responses. And, we just want to know. This is our obsession. We've been trying to find this thing for a while to see if there's any truth or merit to it.
So I do know where a Polybius cabinet lives.
What? Really?
Well, yes and no. So down in New Mexico, I believe it's New Mexico, this guy took, and let me back up a little bit. So I think like 10 years ago or something,
right,
the supposed Polybius ROM appeared on the internet. Finger quotes.
I've seen emulators.
Okay, so it's this guy. So this guy took this ROM, but you can't find it anymore. I've been looking for it, but he pretty much manufactured a Polybius cabinet with this ROM, and made an arcade cabinet. Now this thing looks exactly like everyone has like talked about it, but people aren't having, to my knowledge, aren't having the same side effects. So we don't know what it actually is, but this guy made a replica Polybius cabinet that is supposedly running a Polybius ROM.
But there is an emulator that I've seen as well.
Is that the circle-y one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminded me of Tempest.
It's very much like Tempest. You you fix a puzzle and then you go forward, and you fix a puzzle and you go forward. That's what I'm talking. Yeah. And
it reminded me of keyholes. It's like going through keyhole, and you have to put everything together, interlink it, and then you move on. And it's kind of like you're constructing or deconstructing a cube or deconstructing some sort of a code. You're code breaking. And this is why it's such a peculiar game, because if the men in black, if the suits, if somebody was monitoring you, then they had a camera on you were doing it. They were wondering if you're going to get a good score, and maybe they would give you a phone call saying, Mr. Lewis, we are the government, and we want to make sure that we want to find out if you were willing to join our program and blah. And that's the scary part of this thing, is that it could have very well been a government video game monitoring the activities of young people and whether or not their brains would respond to sort of decoding and code breaking.
I mean, it makes the most sense. I mean, if you're looking in the back of a game, if supposedly guys are coming and looking in the back of the game, that's where all of your like high-tech stuff is going to be. Mm-hmm. You're not going to put anything in the front door.
No.
Because if someone's going to come and try to rob the game, that's where the quarters are, and you don't want your expensive government monitoring equipment to be stolen.
Right.
So, of course, you put it in the back.
I know that I knew a guy that worked for DARPA, and he said that his job was to get kids to train on shooting simulators. And I had no idea that shooting simulators existed. He says they're basically advanced video games. And I didn't know a shooting simulator existed until I had a police officer one time took me to a shooting range because he wanted to show me what kind of intense work police officers do when they're out in the field. Mm-hmm. And it was tense. In fact, I was close to a nervous breakdown when I was doing it because it was so real. And I had my gun. I had a gun. It was so real that I was firing at these things, or they were shooting at me. I got shot 3 times, and I was killed 3 times in the simulator. It's because I was too nice to people. And it's like, no, I can see why people shoot, why cops shoot, because it's like you don't expect. There was this one part of the simulator where I walk up, and this hot blonde is standing next to the truck saying, "I really like this truck." And you're saying, well, we have reports that you have to talk to the simulator, and it talks back to you.
What?
So we have reports that somebody was going to steal this truck. I said, I really love this truck. I said, step away from the truck, ma'am, and then you don't draw your weapon. But that was the thing, is I didn't drop the weapons. I was saying, well, this woman doesn't look like she'd shoot me. So she grabbed a gun from behind her pants, where her back was, grabbed the gun and fired at me and shot me. And so it wasn't until I figured out what was going on that I had to be a little bit more careful, because it responds to your body, it responds to your heart rate, it responds to you talking. And so then I said to the cop, I said, well, is there anything I can do to make it fun? Because I'm losing my mind here. Right. So they put it in zombie mode.
Jeez.
And zombie mode's fun. You can just shoot at zombies.
Right. Is it like a VR thing?
VR. It's virtual
reality. I want to go play this game.
It's amazing. It's so real. I mean, there's a sequence in it where a woman calls you. You show up and you open the door. She says, "I'm so glad you showed up. My boyfriend's going crazy. He's been beating me." All of a sudden, the boyfriend comes out. He kicks open the door, comes out. And he says, "You called the cops?" And then he picks up a gun and just shoots you.
Oh my God!
He grabs a gun from behind the damn the sink and shoots you.
Oh God!
And you don't even expect it. It just happens so quick.
Does the simulator go a step further? Like, there's a whole filling out the paperwork afterwards,
and the apology tour, and the court hearing, and the protests,
right? And ripping your badge off and the stripes off. This thing's really realistic.
It's so realistic.
They're taking my pension away.
So realistic. I got 3rd-degree manslaughter. Anyway. We're running out of time. Quickly, QuarterWorld.
Yeah, go to QuarterWorldArcade.com. Check it out. We're hoping to be open soon. If you want to rent a game, pinball, we got them. And hey, thanks for having me. This was fun.
Logan, thank you. It was great to talk about. And remember, this Polybius thing, we're serious about it. groundzeropdx@yahoo.com. If you experienced it, you know where one is. Let us know.
Right.
And I'll be in touch if we find one. Anyway, guys.
I'm in.
Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you soon.